Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here for Smash This Podcast. On a Friday night, continuing this throwback series. I think it's something I want to start doing on a regular basis. Because the more that Impact Wrestling brings these back, it inspires me to go back and watch some of these way back in the day when I watched these for the first time. And I'm pretty sure I watched this one live. I know I've seen the footage of it plenty of times. It's been a while. So yeah, come on in. Crack a cold one. Grab a snack, whatever. We're going to go back to 2005. Zach Bonifer, the first one in the chat. What is up, brother? And while I'm going through these matches and some of these memories, let me know your thoughts on them. You know, let me know what you remember from back then if you watched it live. Or maybe it'll inspire you to go watch it. This is a very emotionally driven show. And the reason why I say that is because they kick off the show, and I had forgotten this. It's 15 years ago that we lost Eddie Guerrero, and it was on the day of this pay-per-view. Crazy. 15 years ago. Man, I can't believe it. Paul Nelson, what is up, man? Hope you're well, my brother. My favorite nephew. Zach Bonifer just taking up both chats. That's inspiring. Oh my goodness. What is that? What did he do with my face there? Oh my goodness. I'm scared to. Is that a Santa hat on my head or something? I don't know what that is. Anyways. Terrence Sullivan, what is up, brother? So yeah, it starts out with the. Flip this to the correct page first as I'm going through these notes. It starts out with on the screen it says in memory of Eddie Guerrero. So and then yeah, I looked it up, and sure enough, November 13th, 2005. I was like, oh man, that really shook up the industry and set things in motion for even more tragedy to happen within the next year. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't have to go into details on that one. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, it affected so much. But you know, his memory carries on. We love Eddie. We miss Eddie very much. So this one starts out crazy. Starts out with Raven coming down to the ring. And apparently he's got this feud with Larry Zbyszko. I don't remember this one particularly. But basically, they've got some kind of beef. And he's kind of like a man in a management position. Or he's part of the, what do they call that back then? The championship team or championship council, whatever they called it back then. Committee, that's the word they used. The championship committee. That good old TNA championship committee. So Larry wants Raven to sign some papers. They'll pay him the rest of his salary, and then he could be on his way. Or he could stick around, and Larry Zbyszko said he's going to put him through hell. Just make his life a living hell. So Raven flips him off, like, screw you, I'm not going anywhere. I'm coming after you. But Zbyszko is surrounded by security, so he can't do anything then. He almost does, but he doesn't get to him. And then he picks his next opponent, which is Justin Credible, or AKA PJ Polacco. And I think that this might have been like right after he left the WWE, excuse me. So he had to use his real name. It's a guess. So yeah, it is what it is, because Team 3D came in, they had to use other things. They couldn't be the Dudleys because they just left WWE at the time. But it's Raven versus Justin Credible. Nice back and forth match here. Raven wins this one, and so it's just funny to see this because me and the TNA guys are reviewing the throwbacks over on that other little podcast called Total Nonstop Impact, and which they're not so little anymore. We've had some tremendous growth lately. Now it's time to pick this one up and shove it to 1K. Someday. And starting in the new year, in a few short weeks, J-Bone's going to start putting Smash This podcast on audio. So watch for that. The link went out last night, so bookmark that little guy. So yeah, Raven wins this one. And little old school rivalry there between some old ECW guys. Cool. Hakeem Fullerton, RK Shuttleworth, what is up? The beginning is so dramatic. Yeah, very that opening. The opening bumper is very like politically driven. They show a bunch of former presidents making speeches and promises and deliveries on this and that and the other thing. Very, very, very wild. One of the few that I've seen like that before. I don't remember that one at all. Kind of, comical when you think about it, but it's meant to be powerful. Meant to be powerful. Next, now this had to have a little bit of Russo behind it, and I mean that in the most loving, comical way. It's a hockey stick on a pole match. The special ref is Kip James. Kip James recently joined TNA, and I remember this tumultuous time in the history of not one, not two, but the 3 live crew. So the inception of it is what me and the TNI guys are covering right now. And when those 3 started hanging out doing comedic things. So when they actually come to fruition and give it the official name, I don't know, but it's obviously somewhere between 2003 and what we're seeing here, because they're full-blown 3 live crew here. And they're all still in very good shape doing what they're doing. It's a lot of fun. So it's Team Canada versus 3 live crew. Team Canada consisting of A1, which is one of the rare people that you don't see them talk about much. I think they did a little special on him a handful of years ago when they were up in Canada, a little throwback, like a little hey, where are they now special? And I don't remember what it was, but they were interviewing him and catching up with A1, and I can't remember his real name, but that's what they called him back then. A1, Bobby Roode, and Eric Young. Man, so this one was just so much fun to watch. And they show all the drama leading up to this match because BG James is so happy that Kip is in TNA now, and he's got Truth pretty well convinced, like, hey, this guy's with us. He's one of the crew, and but man, Conan just not with it. Just not with it at all. And it took him to get through this match and get the 3 Live Crew win. And finally, you see Kip and Conan bump fists. And that was like a big sigh of relief. Like, maybe we're past this now. But I remember being very excited about BG and Kip James being back together, and that was they I remember them being very very anti WWE. They were all pretty messed up back then, though. Oh man. But yeah, fun match. Great watching Bobby Roode and Eric Young, A1. Team Canada. I think Coach D'Amore was with them. I know she showed up a few different times during the night. Next, after three Live Crew get the win here. And one last note on Kip James. There was one thing about him that was interesting being the ref. Is they kept talking about the cadence of the count, and that he didn't quick count 3 Live Crew, and he didn't quick count, or I should say he didn't quick count Team Canada. He didn't quick count either of them. The cadence of the count was real slow, firm. It wasn't too slow. It was just consistent. And of course, Team Canada complained about it through the whole thing. So, Hakeem with the fun fact here. Teddy Hart and Jack Evans was part of Team Canada. I do not remember this. I'd have to go back and see let me know what year that was. Oh, right above here says I actually did an article talking about the forgotten members of Team Canada. Put that in the description once the show is done, so that people can see that article, Hakeem. Because obviously there's members that I don't know about either, so I can check that out. But yeah, fun 3-on-3 here. 3 Live Crew get the win. Father James Mitchell then getting interviewed in the back, and he's with Abyss, and they're talking about Sabu because that's one of the matches of the pay-per-view here. Next, and they keep talking about this some big debut. Some big debut is happening, and I couldn't remember at the time who it was until I saw the music. As soon as the music hit, I remembered, because it was one of my favorite theme songs back then. Was Kristen Cage's entrance theme. So lights go out, videos up, the techno stuff that sounded like Evanescence back then. Very, very, very similar to Evanescence. That kind of music, melodic alternative rock from the early to mid 2000s. And so he comes out, place explodes, and gets to the ring, huge pop, And he's talking about how he's there because he loves wrestling. And even back then, that was one of those things. That was one of those forbidden words that you couldn't say on that brand up north. So, yeah, see, Hakeem here says he loved Christian Cage's theme. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Come to think of it, he had something very similar when he went solo right before he departed, I believe. Right before he departed WWE. Or did he have a similar one when he came back? It was either one. He had, the themes were similar, but they weren't exactly the same. One had singing, one didn't. This one did not. But Team Canada with Scott D'Amore and Bobby Roode comes out to welcome him. And they offer him a shirt. And Scott D'Amore, man, it's classic Scott D'Amore. So funny back then. And he's reminding him of all those good times they had back in the day up in Canada. Those times with Adam, Edge. Name drops a few other people. And Christian Cage is a little taken back by all this. Takes the shirt, he's looking at it, and he's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you know by the end of the night. I gotta think on this for a bit." And Roode is very taken back by this big time. He's not appreciating the fact that he has to think about this. He's thinking this is a no-brainer. You join us, you're either, what does he say? You're either with us or you're against us. He's really giving it to him. He's not leaving a lot of room for wiggle here. So, but Christian kind of slams the microphone into Bobby Roode's chest as he's walking out of the ring, exits, and yeah. So I remember watching this and thinking, oh man, I hope he doesn't join Team Canada, because that's really gonna put the heels up. Next, we get a promo from Monty Brown, and he's talking about Jeff Hardy, but he also pinpoints the arrival of Christian Cage in his promo as well, saying that not only is he going hunting in the Serengeti for Jeff Hardy, he's going hunting for one Christian Cage as soon as he's done with him. So very interesting that Christian Cage already has targets on his back as soon as he walks in the door, but that's not really surprising. So this is this next match here with Monty Brown and Jeff Hardy is a contenders match. Great back and forth. Man, Jeff Hardy was just wacky at this time. He was just really out there, acting all crazy and like, because I guess at the time Jeff Hardy kind of had a beef with Abyss and Monty Brown, and so Jeff had to get even crazier to try to combat this rivalry. So at one point during the match, Jeff Hardy's just like freaking out, like, I'm a monster too, or whatever. What are you doing? It was pretty comical. Of course, the ladies are going nuts. All the guys were rooting for Monty Brown. Monty Brown comes out with a win here. Pounced Jeff Hardy out of his boots. Mr. Fretz! He was Captain Wacky. He was probably smoking some wacky stuff too back then, if you know what I mean. Later renamed Homer? What? Jabronsky just popping in for a few here. If I don't see you till the Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you too, Mr. Fretz. Much love, dude. Thanks. Yeah, it's been a hell of a year, man. It's been a hell of a year between Smash This Podcast and TNA. It really has. Thank you, man. Much love. And as we continue, if you're in the Twitch, don't forget you can share some bits, you can sub, you can gift sub, you can do all that stuff because we are affiliated. And we're also trying to get to that oh so special 1K number on YouTube as well. So spread it around, tell your friends. If you're new to the channel and you're digging the content, by all means, sub here as well. But yeah, great match between Monty Brown and Jeff Hardy. Monty Brown pouncing him with a win. Now, this is a first. I don't remember this one. This was a lot of fun. This is probably, I'd say match of the night as far as like the whole pay-per-view together, all the matches together. What was my favorite? I'd say this was probably my favorite. And it was actually one of the few times I remember like watching these pay-per-views where we didn't have the X Division kick it off. It was interesting. As much as I love Raven, I was a little surprised because usually that's what they did. They kicked it off with a X Division or a tag team action or something like that. But this was the first ever elimination X match. And man, the X Division back then was so stacked, and new faces coming in at this time. I believe some of these faces weren't around very long back then. Pretty new to this brand. I'd have to dig deep and see who came in exactly when back then. But this is an elimination X match 4-on-4. You got Samoa Joe, he was so good back. I mean, most of these names were all just crazy good. Samoa Joe, Alex Shelley. Now this is before Motor City Machine Guns, apparently. Roderick Strong and Christopher Daniels, who was kind of starting his own little ministry, he's trying to start his own stable. He's really stepping out on his own here. Versus Matt Bentley. Man, that is one rare name that he was one of the names that I don't think about much when I think of the classic X Division. But when I became a fan and started watching between 2004 and 2005 back then, Matt Bentley was one of my favorites. And later, I think, little fun fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I read in one of the classic magazines back then that he was a student of Shawn Michaels. And he had, I believe one of his finishers was the super kick, and back then it wasn't used much. He was one of the few guys that used it for a finisher or something significant to my memory. So yeah, Matt Bentley coming out with Tracy, aka Tracy Brooks. Austin Aries. One of my first recollections of Austin Aries in this brand. I don't remember him going back that far, but I guess he does. Sanjay Dutt and Chris Sabin. Sanjay Dutt, my gosh. He was never one of my favorites, but I think I appreciate him now more than ever, looking back at these matches, because he was just... He was doing stuff that no one else was doing. He was so innovative. Matt Bentley with one of the best super kicks at the time. Austin Aries, controversy aside, for what he's done over the last handful of years in the world of wrestling, damn, so good. still one of my faves. Really is he is, you know, because he's one of the biggest names to really come out of this area, my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thanks for the bid, Zach. Much love, dude. Appreciate it. Didn't know Roderick Strong was there. Yeah, he wasn't there real long. But he was one of my first favorites in the X division when I started watching. In fact, the first match I remember seeing on TNA TV had to be like, I think it's the first episode on Fox or FS1 or whatever it was, before Spike. It was that year before Spike, 2004 to 2005, I believe. First match I remember watching was AJ Styles versus Roderick Strong. Oh man, just, you want to talk about instant classic from back then. Two of the best in the company at this time and what they did. Roderick Strong, and then I actually had a chance to meet him several years later at a Ring of Honor show in Milwaukee. I want to say 2012, and that was right after they got that TV deal with Sinclair, and I got a chance to meet him at an after party. Nice guy, very nice guy. So I've always like once you connect with him, it's, you know, you remember stuff like that. In fact, I did a shot with him, and he was hanging out with Eddie Edwards at the time. So I did a shot with both those guys, got a pic with them. And yeah, just a blast. Also at the show earlier, they did a meet and greet before the show. It was, see if I can remember this. Jay Lethal recently came back to Ring of Honor. Michael Elgin, Rhino. So that was the first time I met Rhino. Now I got 2 autographs because one came with that pro wrestling crate. And Kevin Steen was the champ at the time. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Oh, thanks, Zach. I'll check that out later. Matt Bentley was related to HBK. Oh, okay. Well, that explains some of that then. Because I know he went to his school. He had a killer feud with Paul London in early Ring of Honor. Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. But yeah, it's just what an insane match, back and forth, elimination style. I believe the order of elimination was Roderick Strong. I don't think I got this right. Roderick Strong, Austin Aries, Alex Shelley, Matt Bentley, and then I lost track after that because the action was just ridiculous. But Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels end up beating the other team. Excuse me. They're the last 2. And I missed this. Something happened between the 2. Christopher Daniels came in and got the pin because someone pulled Samoa Joe out of the ring. Something happened. And so then they started fighting at the end, and Samoa Joe completely decimated Christopher Daniels after the match, after they won. And Christopher Daniels ended up getting taken away in an ambulance, which was a very, very emotional moment because, man, he gave him muscle buster, 2 of them, and the second one was on a chair, and Christopher Daniels was just laying there completely motionless, so he was selling the shit out of this. People were like, oh my God, is he still breathing? You know, and then they were They had the gurney down there. They were trying to lift the gurney over the top rope to get it in the ring. No, that ain't working. Then they were trying to like slowly get him. My only constructive criticism of this moment was, as good as it was, they never put a neck brace on him. Every other time you've seen people getting taken away, they get them stabilized, neck brace, things on either side of his head or whatever. That's the only thing they didn't do to him here, which kind of took away from it, you know, but it wasn't like it ruined the moment by any means. So yeah, then that obviously got the attention of the rest of the X division to the point that the champion at this time, who had to defend his championship later, AJ Styles, comes out, stands at the top of the ramp as Christopher Daniels is getting hauled away, and he looks across to the other side of the arena, and there's Samoa Joe with this euphoric look on his face, like, look what I just did. Look what I just did. And he's got Christopher Daniels' blood painted across his chest. That was pouring out of his head earlier. Crazy. William Gardner, what is up? I heard there was some smashing going on. PG smashing. We're just talking about wrestling. We're not live smashing out here. No. Because we want to get monetized someday. That's where those other naughty channels that are doing naughty things. So, and congratulations to TNA for getting monetized, because we hit that 1K and it's still growing. So tremendous. YouTube not dropping the ball on that one. They are just, the money's going to be flowing in. No, I don't know. It's been a while since YouTube sent any kind of money my way. So we'll see what happens. It's been a while. Paul says, I love it when you do old pay-per-views. Well, I'm going to keep these going. I'm going to do them like every few weeks, depending on what the schedule is and what's going on. As long as they keep bringing back some old pay-per-view names and it's fun stuff, and I still have people showing up for these, then I'll keep doing them. And I might even start mixing in some old ECW stuff here and there, because it's still on my to-do list. It's just a matter of finding the time, because man, I'm getting to the point where the Monday nights and the Friday nights between Raw and SmackDown are just the drizzling shits again. I wasn't even motivated to do the go home for TLC this week, and the ratings, you know, at the same time were like the lowest ever, so that doesn't motivate me to watch it either. So maybe we'll see how if things change in the next few weeks. Maybe I'll go back to it, but for now I'm gonna keep doing some of these different things for now on this channel, because I've been back and forth with the WWE over the last handful of years, so you guys know that. And so all right, but anyways, we continue. So yeah, tremendous Elimination X match, obviously setting things in course for Samoa Joe and whoever is going to be X Division champ at the end of the night. And thoughts and prayers for Christopher Daniels, because he was taken away in the ambulance. Now we got the no DQ between, this is just a classic, Sabu and Abyss. The weird, wild, wonky storyline attached to this one, and I don't remember this, but I had a chuckle when they were, you know, showing the footage, you know, leading up to this, the promo. Apparently something happened to Abyss earlier in life, and he is terrified of barbed wire. And, well, you know how crazy Sabu is. So whatever ignited this feud in the first place, all of a sudden Sabu shows up in this promo, and he's like this, and his arms covered in part of his, you know, his cloak, whatever you call the Sabu cloak he always has over his head. And he pulls it back, and his arm is just completely wrapped in barbed wire. And Abyss is like, oh, he's freaking out, and he's absolutely terrified. So that's the storyline here is they've got a no DQ match. And Sabu's going to do whatever he can to beat him, include, obviously going to bring barbed wire into the mix because, man, what's a Sabu match without a little bit of barbed wire, right? But this was a lot of fun. A lot of blood shed here. Tax galore. People just rolling through the tax on this one between Sabu and Abyss. Just crazy. But Abyss wins this one with a black hole slam. And he actually black hole slams him into a table, or a chair wrapped in barbed wire. And then the comical part of the ending here is Father James Mitchell is trying to coax him into the ring. He's holding the chair wrapped in barbed wire, like, hey, come on in here. I want to show this to you. And Abyss is like, no, I won. I'm out of here. So he's trying to calm him down. It's obviously he's still he wasn't scared enough to not use it in the match because that's what Sabu landed on. Oh God, it was brutal. So Sabu's pulling barbed wire and tacks out of his back after this. His back was just shiny red, just complete shiny red with tacks and blood. It was crazy. Swag fan, what is up? Abyss truly is one of the greatest big men ever in wrestling. It's so much fun watching this early footage of Abyss. He really was one of the best monsters of the mid-2000s. He really was. And it took me a while to appreciate him because I was like, because I know he got compared a lot to guys like Kane or guys like Mankind because the mask was similar. And but man, he and Father James Mitchell just tore through that division, the heavyweight division, if you will. He also did something with the X division too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It gets a little fuzzy, but yeah, I really came to appreciate him, and now, and I'll bring this up again over on TNA. We're doing the classic NWA TNA pay-per-views. And if you're not joining us for that, they're an absolute blast to go back and watch. I'm watching them as a first-time fan watching them. So I watch one a week as we're reviewing them. I didn't watch these back in the day. Now, Trent and Bill did. But so they watched them live 15 years ago or 17 years ago, excuse me. And I never watched them. So we've reviewed a year's worth of them now. We just got done with number 52, and it's right after Abyss debuted. So that was very interesting. I'd never seen that before. Never even saw clips or classic footage. And Abyss just had his debut match against Eric Watts. And that was really fun to see for the first time. So, and I joke with the guys all the time, no spoilers, no spoilers. Trent's like, shut up, it's 17 years old. There's going to be spoilers. So, especially when someone, shows up in the chat and says, by the way, such and such and such as match is next week. And I'm like, oh, stop, So, yeah, to see the evolution of Abyss in this company over the years is fascinating. He's really... He truly is one of the best monster men of wrestling, to the point that even towards the end of his Impact career, took the mask off when he was a part of, oh shit, what was that group with Crazy Steve and Rosemary? Why is it not coming to me? Someone will put it in the chat. It's just not coming to me. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, such a great big man. Come on, where's my history buffs? Decay, thank you. Like, no, okay, there's like 3-4 of them in a row now. There we go. Decay, thank you. Could not think of it. Pardon my senility. So, thank you guys. Thank you. But yeah, fun, hardcore, no DQ match between Sabu and Abyss. Abyss wins with the Black Hole Slam. On to the barbed wire chair. One note that I had here at the end here, it was so extreme at the end, so much blood and just craziness. TNA and West are practically losing their voices, screaming so much. They were just so emotional. It's just a classic moment for them. Next here we got the X Division title match between Petey Williams and AJ Styles. A1 coming down with Petey Williams, part of Team Canada, who gets ejected later. So, it's good that they kept it 1v1 here. Man, just and reminds me how good Petey Williams was. Like, because we've seen the evolution of Styles over the course of this first year that we've been reviewing over on TNA. And of course, we know how good he is now. But man, now you throw a guy like Petey Williams in, and he's been around Impact here and there over the last few years, but he was more used as enhancement, even though he's still good. But man, 2005 Petey Williams, back in the what many consider the inception of the Canadian Destroyer. The way he used it back then, it's devastating. Absolutely devastating. And now someone who uses it currently in the company, like Chris Bay, man, he also does it very well. So yeah, it gets used a lot in wrestling today, but there's few who use it to the intensity of guys like Chris Bay and currently, and Petey Williams back then in 2005. But AJ Styles comes out for the win here. Styles clash off the second turnbuckle. Man, just crazy intense. And Samoa Joe is actually standing at the top of the ramp watching at the end here, which is very it's intimidating. It's intimidating because he's got the towel around, his classic towel, but it's covered in blood. And that was one thing. They were like, oh, yeah, he's got the towel. It's covered in Christopher Daniels' blood. So, so that ties in that moment from earlier in the night to now. And so that's certainly sets that up. AJ Styles looks at him, reverses what Petey Williams was going to do, and then Styles clashes Petey Williams off the second turnbuckle to the mat. 1, 2, 3 gets the win. So, yeah, now I want to go watch that Styles Samoa. I'm assuming that what is going to lead to a Samoa Joe Styles feud, but we'll save that for another day. Then on to the main event here. Wow, I might actually get this done in an hour. That'd be pretty good. America's Most Wanted, who are the biggest heel tag team currently here because they're back on the champ, who is Jeff Jarrett. And he took the championship from Rhino. And I believe, at least I'm pretty sure he took the championship from Rhino. And that was when Rhino was NWA TNA champion, was way back then. And that was when they really started getting an influx of WWF, WWE talent. And it felt kind of like the WCW, WWF days when people were going back and forth, when they really started building up their roster. But yeah, Harrison Storm were tag champs at the time. Jeff Jarrett, world champ. So there's no titles on the line here. It's just kind of a grudge match of sorts, with all the biggest names in the company. So America's Most Wanted with Jeff Jarrett versus Rhino and Team 3D. Man, Team 3D just tearing things up back then, keeping things so extreme. And this one went all over the place, up in the bleachers, down the bleachers, over to this side of the arena, back to this side of the arena, like wiped out all the chairs, like not just some of the chairs, like just rows of chairs at a time. I mean, this one was bloody. Rhino at one point fell off the Spanish announce table that was up in the bleachers down to a lower section of bleachers, tumbled down to the floor. I mean, it was brutal. Tables, chairs. Team 3D at one point using a cheese grater on AMW. So both Chris Harris and especially James Storm, just blood, just crimson mask, just blood everywhere. So violent, but man, this was a lot of fun. I fast forwarded through a little bit here, a little bit there between people, taking big bumps off of this and that and the other thing. Team 3D and Rhino come off with the win here with the 3D. And then comes out to the ring Team Canada. So Rhino and Team 3D are severely outnumbered. You got Rude, you got Rude, Eric Young, and Coach coming down to the ring. And, oh no, it's the emotion in TNA and Don West's voice, like, oh no, this can't happen after this great win for, Rhino and Team 3D. And then out comes Christian, the big, yay! Oh, but now what? Like, he runs down to the ring with the chair, but he's got his jacket on that he showed up with. So who's he gonna come down to help? Because he hadn't made a decision yet. He hadn't made his decision, and he unzips he sets the chair down. He unzips his jacket, and it's a red classic Team Canada, TNA Team Canada shirt, and he's hugging Scott D'Amore and Jeff Jarrett is standing at the top of one of the corner turnbuckles, propped up there because he was about to get his ass whooped by Team 3D, and then everyone was outnumbered, and then all of a sudden he turns on Team Canada. They take him out, and then they ended up putting what did they do to? They did. They put Jeff Jarrett through a table at the end, and everyone goes home happy. So yeah, big happy ending. And Christian Cage is going after Jeff Jarrett's Championship. I remember when I first started watching this, I couldn't remember if I watched it live or not, but I did watch this one. It was, shrouded in tragedy, unfortunately, because of Eddie Guerrero's death, but still a great pay-per-view. And this is back when I was really, really a fan of TNA. I was so excited for this new brand. And you see the defections of people from WWF, WWE at the time, and this roster just booming at this time. And this is even before Angle joined, So this is Team Canada for life, right? Christian Cage was the John Moxley of the 2000s. He was one of the best free agents who killed it elsewhere, says Hakeem Fullerton. Yes. Yeah. It certainly felt like that back then, even though there weren't the thousands and thousands in attendance when Moxley showed up in AEW. But still, the roar of the place, the people were hyped. They were very excited for this. And just 15 years ago. What a crazy time in wrestling. It still feels very similar today because you got other, you got this brand growing. A lot of tension in wrestling, a lot of emotions. It's wild. And it's before the big inception of the boom in social media. So there's still that. I mean, there's the message boards and stuff back then, but there isn't Facebook and there isn't Twitter. That came a little later, a few years later. So it's still, in that sense, still a very quiet time. There was still tape trading and stuff going on. That's how people shared there. A lot of water cooler talk back then, as I like to say. So, William Grutter says Christian's TNA run so good, better than his E run, just like Angle in the same period. Yeah. And it was one thing that it was great to see Christian at that time really get that push away from everything else that he was tied to before. He really had a chance to shine, and he became one of my favorites. I mean, I enjoyed he and Edge together, back in the WWE, but he was never going to grow unless he was away from Edge. And even when Christian and Edge split up, he still was not going to be noticed like that. And it was until he got this run in TNA, went back to WWE a few years later and got that world championship run because he was able to prove himself thanks to a brand like this. And in fact, I remember him being one of my favorites back then because I have some of the classic DVDs from TNA back then. Not many, just a few. I've got the Raven one from like 2004, 2005, and I've got the Christian DVD from back then. So, yeah. Are we ready for Christmas? Not a chance. No, there's we got less than a week? Crap, less than a week to go. No, we're not ready. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to get together with people, and that's looking pretty slim now with the way things are, unfortunately. We're not doing a lot for Christmas, but we still want to connect with the kids somehow. It's just it's going to be a quieter Christmas than this year, unfortunately. Auntie's doing fine. Thank you, Paul. She's doing fine. In fact, she's still making some last minute holiday gifts for some friends that she hasn't seen and connected with in a long time. And that shop's going to be up soon, folks. So if you have significant others or yourselves who are interested in homemade goods, keep an eye out. I'll be letting you guys know when that store is up. I'll be trying to help her out with stuff in my free time when I can. Logo work and stuff like that. The store is going to be up soon. So hope Christian goes to AEW. If he does, he ain't going to be doing much. He's not, because he's retired as far as I know. Of course, hey, anything could happen. Look, Edge came back. Hell, Daniel Bryan even came back, and I don't know how bad Christian really is. I know he had a bunch of yeah, he was banged up towards the end of his career, which is why he just stopped getting pushed altogether, and unfortunately. So never say never. Well, yeah, we'll see. It's a weird time, I mean, medical technology and people's comebacks are going hand in hand now. People are getting these stem cell injections, and people are becoming completely rejuvenated. They're going down to South America and coming back like brand new people. So many, hell, Kevin Nash is even going down there for that. He had injections in his hips, and Morrison went down there, Ryback, Mysterio, so many. So who knows? Maybe Christian will come back someday, but I don't see him going anywhere else. Hey, could be wrong, but I just don't see it, because ever since he came back to WWE, he seemed to stay pretty tight with Edge and with Vince. So, hey, you never know. But hey, when's that next Christian Edge series coming out? Hey, I didn't watch the first one. Oh. No, I heard it was funny. They were great together. I just never watched it. I'm not saying it was bad. I just never watched it. So, all right. Wow, keeping this up one under an hour. So, yeah, we're going to get out of here. Much love everyone who showed up live for this. And if you're watching the replay, thank you. These are a blast to watch. I'm going to keep doing these here and there, just for something different. These are fun for me, so I'm going to keep doing them. So, yeah, by all means, check out all the links in the description. Down there, there's the merch shop. We got hoodies, because, baby, it's cold outside. We got T-shirts, we got mugs, and we got masks. Very nice masks. I saw someone get one recently, and they actually look good quality with the Smash This Podcast logo on it. So keep safe this holiday season and stay warm. Get yourself some Smash merch. Whether you're on the Twitch or the YouTube, thank you. Give it a follow. Give it a sub. Cheer some bits, whatever. It's all appreciated, especially this time of year. You can find Smash This Podcast over on the Instagram, the Facebook, and the Twitter. Oh, sorry. Instaneck, the Twitter box, and the Face Botch. That's what I like to call it. So stay safe. I don't know how many more of these shows I'm going to be doing getting closer to Christmas, but I'll be doing a few more. We'll also be doing a few over with the TNA guys, a few holiday shows coming up. Those are still in the process of being worked out, but we're going to try to get like everybody together on one, I believe next Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure. We got to figure that out. Oh, look at William. Let the bone keep you warm this holiday season. My God, you're going to get me flagged. I love you, brother. So that's crazy. Critical Sting. What's up, man? So much love, everyone. Stay safe. And we'll see you, if not tomorrow, we'll see you on Sunday for the Sunday dinner, the Impact Plus Weekly over on TNA. Take care, folks. Good night.